So how's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel from Hazardous Entertainment, and welcome back to some more Minecraft Build the Earth Winston Salem. In today's episode, we are going to be focusing on signs. As you see here, one of the oldest buildings I did, the Winston Tower, has a big sign on the front of it that says Winston Tower. And it's a good example of how you can get large signs out of blocks, just exclusively blocks. Yeah, I've done... I wanted to go for a purely black lettering, but unfortunately we don't have any black stairs or slabs, and stairs and slabs were important for a font of this size to be able to be represented correctly. So this is one way that you can go about creating signs, but sometimes signs are smaller than this. This is taking up about a 3x3 spot for each letter, so what about like a smaller building? Well, I'll take you over here to one of my other projects that I was working on a while back that has some smaller lettering on it. Tucked right here next to 100 North Main, we have the BB&T Tower, which uses a different lettering system. This one is still out of blocks, but as you can see here, it's actually only taking up a 3x2 space for each letter. Well, actually, the ampersand here is taking up 3 full spaces. But it's a bit of a different way of doing it. I just wanted to go a little more compact. If this was the full 3x3, then we'd be having a major issue with overextending on this part. But sometimes you need even smaller letterings, and that's where you can get into things like banner art, where you have a whole alphabet that you can create out of those simple designs that we can add to banners in Minecraft. But today we're not talking about any of that. We're going to try a new method that I've worked on a lot that I wanted to introduce you guys to, as it's a method that can really help when it comes to much more complicated signs. So let's go ahead and look at a building that I've gone ahead and done the shelling and outlining of that has a pretty particularly complicated sign that I think would be the perfect specimen for today's video. So over here, just on the outskirts of the downtown area, we have a brewery. Now this building I just kind of threw up in a couple minutes so we could have something to demonstrate on, but this is Wiseman. Wiseman is a local brewery we have here in town. As you can see from these pictures, it's got this giant logo painted on the front of it at kind of this angle that covers up most of the front of it. It goes over some windows even. It's a very complicated thing, and we really can't build that with additional blocks or anything like that. So how do we go about detailing something like that? The one thing you'll have to note is that we're not going to be able to get a crazy amount of detail out of this, but we're going to do the best we can. And in order to do that, we're going to need to use some third-party softwares. So the first place you're going to want to go is into Photoshop or any photo manipulation software that you have. You can use GIMP, you could even use MS Paint if you're really bold and brave. But I have Photoshop, so I'm going to be showing you how to do it within this. But again, any software should be able to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a photo of their logo. So I'm just going to drag and drop that in. And as you can see here, we have a transparent version of their logo. Yeah, okay, smart objects, yeah, bunch of stuff. So I have the logo here. And this canvas that I've created here, basically the space that we're going to be editing with inside of, is set up to be a 14-inch by 19-inch canvas. And that is relative to the space we need on the front of the building in the game. So that is 14 blocks long and 9 blocks tall for that building. And that's going to make sure that when we bring this into our Mosaic editor, because we're going to be taking it into a software like that later, everything is going to be the right size when we bring that schematic into the game. So the first thing I see when I look at this picture of the building is that it's at that slight angle. So what I'm going to try to do is treat this like the front of the building, and I'm going to take this Wiseman logo, I'm going to shove it off to the edge here. It also looks like this is actually a slightly different logo too from what's truly on there, but I don't think that's going to matter all that much. I think we're just going to go with what we have, because we're just trying to get the idea of it, and we're going to lose a lot of that detail along the way. So I think that's going to be what we're looking for here. Something like that. Looks like it just comes down to there, and I don't think we actually have this down at the bottom. This little, if I can get my eraser tool out, this little part that says Winston Salem at the bottom, I don't believe that's on the actual side of the building. So we're going to get rid of that really quickly, just nice and neat. And now what I'm going to do is bring in a background. So when we bring this into the Mosaic generator, it's going to generate everything into Minecraft blocks. So we need something. We can't have a transparent background here, or else when we bring it in, it's going to use a null block or something, and it's going to interpret colors on the edges of these letters differently. So we need something that's going to generate brick on that. So I'm going to bring in this. Now I looked for this color ahead of time. Now this color right here, when brought into our Mosaic generator, is going to represent as brick. So that's going to be really helpful when we're making a brick building. And so there we go. Drag that layer underneath, and what we have here is a pretty good representation of how that's going to look. Let me get some last checks. We might want to bring this whole thing at a bit of a steeper angle than we had it. Yeah, something along those lines. So double checking everything. Yep, it looks like we're all good on that front. So we're just going to save this as a JPEG, and it doesn't need to be crazy big. I'm just going to compress it down to 4, which is going to be about 200 megabytes. We're going to leave this open just in case we need to make any adjustments. But other than that, we should be ready to go over to our Mosaic software. So right here we have the Minecraft image converter. Now this is going to take any image we put in and it's going to turn it into the best representation of a mosaic that it can, as you can see by good old Wind Waker link here. So all you have to do is click on Go to Editor. Just look up Minecraft Mosaic Generator. I'll also have a link to this website down in the description if you want to use it to make your own creations. But other than that, we're going to go to Choose File. We're going to come in and we're going to grab our JPEG. And as you can see, there it is. And you can see down here at the bottom, we have our image size. And right now it's taking it at the dimensions of the pixels. So that's 4,200 pixels by 2,700 pixels. And it's locked at that aspect ratio. Now, the good news is that we can lower this and we don't even have to unlock the, you can also, you can ignore aspect ratio, but we don't have to right now. Because if I tell the width to be 14, like we have our blocks in game, it's gonna automatically adjust to 9 right there. And if it doesn't automatically adjust, let's say it adjusts 1 down or 1 up, then you can also ignore aspect ratio and you can manually type in that 9 or whatever number you need right there. So now you come over here and you tell it what version of Minecraft you're in. So we are in 1.12. This can go all the way up. It looks like 1.11, 1.10, 1.9. And we are going to use 1.12 because that's what we're on. Include falling blocks. I'm going to say no falling blocks. Include transparent. We're gonna just pretend, I don't want to use any glass. I don't want to use any redstone activated ones. Include luminance. You don't have to ignore in-game build height. We're not going to be worried about that one either. All blocks. And we're going to go and click convert. And hopefully, if everything worked correctly, we end up with this. Now I know what you're thinking. This looks really vague. It doesn't look anything like the logo. And it was never going to. That's the point of these mosaics, is that they just kind of give off the idea of that. So as you can see, we lost pretty much every amount of detail. You can't tell it says Wiseman at all. But the thing is, we're not necessarily trying to tell somebody that's what it says. But if I was to just ignore that sign altogether, then suddenly it's going to look like a normal building. It's not going to look like there's any sort of detail on the front of that. So we need to, create the idea of this sign, because that's all Build the Earth is about, is creating the idea of something. So you can see it's given us some wool, some snow, some bone blocks, some chiseled bricks, and it's even between the brick layer and the white layer, it's given us some kind of gradient with these lighter bricks right here, which is always great. And we really didn't have to lift much of a finger at all. So how do we get this into the game? Well, there's two ways to go about it, and this is such a small project that I'm probably going to go about building this the manual way. And that's one way you can do it. You can manually go in and rebuild this in the game. The other way, let's say you have something much bigger, an entire side of a building, you went in and made it so that you have a perfect representation of what that side of the building looks like. All you have to do is come up here to the top and click Save. And this is going to give you a built-in download for a schematic file, which if you didn't know, in World Edit, that's how you can open up and import builds into your world. All you have to do is use the / schematic command, and you can load, you can save, this is the way that we transport builds across maps. So I'm gonna go ahead and save one just so I have it. I don't necessarily need it, but if I needed to, I could tell the guys over at the server, hey, I have this schematic, go ahead and add it to the file, and then I'd be able to open it on the server. But I'm just gonna show you today how to build this from scratch, because I think that's gonna be a lot more engaging. All right. So we are back here in Minecraft with our building. And we are going to go ahead and add this, and I have it pulled up on the other screen here, our mosaic that we just generated. This is our ground level here. I went ahead and found the elevation so we know where the bottom is. And I'm going to come in here, and we're going to come in here and just start adding blocks where they need to be. So I'm going to grab some polished granite here, and 1, 2, 3, there you go. And we'll add a bone block next, and eventually we'll have our whole palette down here in our toolbar, and we won't have to keep going into the inventory here. And now I have a hole. And on this, it's showing me that there needs to be bone block here. And because there's a window with the pattern still painted on it here, or I think it's a door, I'm gonna go ahead and keep representing it. But on these areas where we have windows up here, we're eventually gonna cut those out and leave those blank. So, looks like I need another one there. And that needs to be a bone block. And then I need white concrete. And now I need some granite, which has escaped me once again. Looks like I'm on a good level, so I'm gonna dig out some of this grass here so we can keep building. So eventually I'll flatten this whole landscape out when we eventually get around to finishing up this building. This is gonna make this look really, really nice. Let's see. And that looks like that's the end of that section. So the next one up, we'll come here, and we will do chiseled. That's gonna be chiseled quartz right there. So let's see, let's put that there, and we'll put another... Ooh. Oh, it looks like I've done something wrong here. Hold on. 1, 2. I have to come in here and adjust everything over by 1. This one needs to be snow. Wool. And now we come here and finish up. There we go. All right, that's our next layer done. Trust me, it is much easier to do this with the schematic, although at this angle it might be a bit more complicated. So maybe the workload is evening out a bit. All right, that's all brick across the board there. Next up is right here. We're going to need white concrete. Aha. So we're getting a bit simpler with the pattern here. I say that, but it is a little... I have to kind of double check my work every now and then, and I need to do that real fast. Is that bone? More bone. I don't use bone very often in Build the Earth, but on these mosaics, they really are a fan of bone. I guess that's a good neutral beige color. So the computer sees it and goes, yep, give me as many of those as you have. I need as much bone as you can give me. And up here, last layer. See, it doesn't take too long at all. Something of this size, it doesn't take too long. But yeah, again, the bigger it gets, easier it might just be to world edit it in. And I think that's good. Yeah, it's interesting. Because it's not something you're gonna like look at, but if you look at it from afar, and you compare it to the building, it definitely gives off the embodiment or the idea of that being there. And to me, I'm satisfied with that. It's the weirdest thing, and the smaller the sign, the harder it is. Sometimes when I do like really small signs, like let's say it's like a sign that says the name of a building, like it says like, you know, like I consider a few episodes ago when I did the streets video, it said Nissan building, and so I just put an NB with player heads. There's many different methods we have, and this is one of them. Now I know, at the beginning of the video, you probably didn't expect it to look anything like this. I certainly didn't. I didn't know how detailed or how lack of detail it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a lot of squares like this that give the idea of this sign here. But I just wanted to give you that as an approach. If you are looking at a sign in Build the Earth and you say, I have no idea what to do next with this, consider using the mosaics, because again, something like this, there was no other way to go about adapting this. I might at some point come in here and where this door is supposed to stand, it's actually supposed to be right here. I might come in and try to take a section of that pattern and, you know, overlay it on top of a transparent black layer, so I could have that transparent black glass there. But for now, I think I'm just going to come in and do this. You know, it might look a little bit crazy. It might be a lot of mixed in stuff there, but for now, what I think I'm going to do is just open that up like that, because that's how it's supposed to look. And also, I wanted to really quickly check, there's a window up here, and I want to see how adding the window in above that applies. I also know there's a window right about here. And truth be told, if somebody looked at that, they might just go, oh, it looks like it's a faded building. It might look like it's a weird paint job on it. But somebody who comes by, who maybe knows Wiseman and says, hey, I want to go to Wiseman in Minecraft. They'd come by and they'd go, oh, look at that. It's, you know, it's the logo. So again, just getting as close as we can with those details. And this is definitely one way to let the computer take a little bit of that workload. I'm gonna see where I can find this window here. According to my calculations, it's about right there. And then another window comes here. So that means I might have to scoot this door over, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. And what I might do is just add in a bit of detail here, as if there was some more of that pattern there. Maybe not here, or maybe I'll do a brick, or like a that, maybe do something like this. just to give the idea that the pattern continues over that window. And yeah, you get a bit of that. And it's not the most, you know, iconic looking thing. But it's definitely a method that I think everyone should try to employ. But this is just something I wanted to go over in this week's episode. Before next week, when we're going to be doing a big project. Next week's project is a showcase. It's going to be the RJR building. This is something that's been recommended for a while, and I'm super excited to have it done and show you guys. So next Saturday, look out for that video. It's going to be a big build. It's taken us like all of a month to make this project work. So really look forward to that one. But until next time, that is all the time I have for today. So remember to like and subscribe. And as always, my name is Daniel, and I will see you guys next time.